Hey, this is Erez Gorin with BPM College, and we're here today to review some of the new features in Cubase 8.5. So, upon opening this blank project, we can already notice the transport panel has changed a bit. This is mainly visual, we didn't lose any functions. They were, however, reorganized up here in the transport menu. Apart from that, we did get some new functionality in a pre-existing feature, which is the auto punch in and punch out, which is an independent recording range you can set. I'll just set my locators around 4 bars, and you can see that with I and O on my keyboard, I can turn these functions on and set them to record, say from bar 2 to the end of bar 3. All that's left is just to press play, and then any armed track will automatically record within that range. If I want to add some content, I'll go to my Media Bay browser, which was also reorganized in an intuitive visual manner of navigation through stock packages and also my own saved presets. If I want to go back to the old browsing method, it's as simple as clicking Show All Items. Okay, so to demo some new features, I'll grab Retrolog, which got some serious upgrades. Now, before you start to worry like I did, keep in mind Retrolog 2 can and does read presets from its predecessor. That was pretty much the first thing I checked. In short, this fantastic instrument got a couple of additional LFOs, an extra oscillator and modulation envelope, a highly sophisticated arpeggiator engine, and a new effects section. It also comes with about 400 additional presets as a showcase for what it can do. Anyway, for now I'll just choose a preset, because I want to show you a new feature in the chord pads section. They can still be accessed through a key command or from the project menu above, but Steinberg planted this new feature here without even addressing it that lets you open panels just by clicking on the edge of your screen. So this module was an interesting and useful feature in Cubase 8. But we got some new functions here that focus on playability. Up until now, the chord pads enabled triggering of a whole chord from one key. But here we have the sections, which basically provide access to the current chord's tones. This is great news for anyone who's not a native keyboard player and is now able to create custom patterns that can be both complex and musically logical. In addition, we have what's called subsections, which are 5 additional remote keys that can trigger an interval relative to a section of your choice. This is going to be a really interesting feature. I'm going to open up the Mix console, where there's some organization-related updates, mainly for users of past versions of Cubase, and also for anyone who's fed up with constant double-clicking. The Insert and Send sections now have single-click buttons, but you can still keep your habit of double-clicking on the module to open the GUI. Another thing I believe that was already implemented in Cubase 8 is having a fixed number of slots for visual convenience. Let me just send this track to a reverb so you can see the new layout. I want to show you a new function in the key editor. Up until now, you could input a note manually with the pencil tool, or with your selection tool by holding Alt. This is still relevant, but watch. I'm going to draw in a note, and drag it left and right to control its length. If I drag on a vertical scale, it will determine the velocity for that note. And if I hold Shift, I can move the start point. Like in previous versions, holding down Control temporarily disables the snap function, but now if I release Alt and hold it again, you can see that I can change the pitch as well. This can be perceived as a minor upgrade, but it will definitely save you a lot of extra clicks and undos. Another editing function that became available by mouse click is the repeat button that you can now see on every event. In addition, you can set some modifier keys to control sizing, applying time stretch, but we'll get to that in a bit. Before I continue, let me show you some new features in the drum editor. These are especially useful for those drum kits that span across the entire 128 MIDI keys. You've got a new option that shows only the keys that contain data, or even only keys that are routed to actual samples in your instrument. Alright, I'm going to render this bit out with Render in Place, which was introduced in Cubase 8. Something we can't see here is the new set of pitch and time warping algorithms. Z-Plane, which is responsible for the elastic audio algorithms, is up to version 3 now, and for my brief testing I can definitely see an improvement. I'm just going to stretch this event out and exaggerate it a bit so you can hear. Listen to how the transients and pitch are both preserved, even in extreme values. We can also hear some interesting byproducts. Really great for all kinds of sound design. A very important feature that was added here is the option to import whole tracks, including content, without having to save a preset or archive ahead of time. Now, there are several workarounds from previous versions, but opening up 2 projects, either on one screen or 2, it can get a bit messy. For example, I got a drum groove that I created and got going in a test project about an hour ago, and I remembered to name it, and to import it into this project, I'll just hit File, Import, Tracks from Project, select my project, Cubase will read the file, and give access to its tracks. I'll mark the ones I want to import, and here we go. This function can also import content from tracks into an existing track in your project, and this is done by automatically creating a new track version and placing it on that version. Another feature that came up in this version is aimed mostly at studios with multiple producers or engineers. Each one probably has his own set of key commands, his own preferences, color schemes, and workplaces that allow him to work in the most quick and efficient manner possible. All of these parameters are now concentrated in what's called a profile manager. Here you can set your working environment, and when a different user replaces you, it'll take him just one click to go back to his settings. I will mention another feature, but I can't elaborate on it because it hasn't been officially released yet. This is VST Transit. It's a collaborative cloud service from Steinberg that lets you store and access projects online and also have a comment thread running either with notes to yourself or to anyone else who's participating in that project. And most importantly, all from within Cubase. Okay, so I'm sure I skipped over some features that we'll probably see as we start using Cubase 8.5, but I can definitely say there are some important and useful upgrades as far as user interface and also some really creative new functions. Anyway, that's our time for today. I'm Goran. Thanks for watching.